country decides that they would like to have our rights, and they want to be able to use the fact that they crossed the border illegally, or their illegal act to try and justify their position and take away our rights. No, if you want to have the same rights that people have in America, you need to go and do the work that you need to do in Mexico in order to make that happen. You need to go ahead and you need to get rid of the drug cartels in Mexico. Don't ask us, Americans, who have fought and died in this country to enable us to have these rights that we have and enjoy in the United States. Do not ask us to give up our rights so that you can come in and take our rights and then tell us that we white people have no longer of a say in our own fucking country. Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Like, I'm an advocate for the rights of my own people. Go fuck yourself. I'm not giving up my rights just so that you can come into this country and tell me that I no longer have rights because of white privilege. No, you back to fucking Mexico, you go back to wherever the fuck you came from, and you fight for your own fucking rights. You don't come to the United States, take American rights, and then turn around and tell white people that who fought and died for this country, who white people who send their sons and their daughters to the United States military to protect America's rights, that we don't have fucking rights? No. You go back to where the fuck you came from, and you fight for your own fucking rights. Okay? You're not going to take our rights away from us just because you don't like it. You don't like the fact that we have these rights. You're jealous of the fact that the rights that we have. You go fight for your rights. You go fight for your rights in your own country. You do not come to this country and you do not take away Americans' rights to free speech, to all these different groups. You don't get to take all our privileges away from us just because you came here because of something that Barack Obama allowed you to come here under, a program. That doesn't take away Americans' rights. Just because Barack Obama decided to look the other way and to ignore the American law doesn't make it lawful for then you to stay here in the United States. Okay? Just because we had a president that was basically a communist and allowed some of these bad practices to take place does not mean you get to dictate to American people that you have the right to stay here in this country when you don't. So it is what it is. You may not like it, but that's just a fact. And don't get me wrong. I am totally for illegal, I'm totally for legal immigration. I am totally and completely for legal immigration. If you want to come to this country and you want to work hard and you want to prove yourself that you're a good citizen, by all means, I want you here in this country. I want you here in this country because good citizens are, they're hardworking. They love their families. They take care of their families. They're good people to be around. They create a good culture. Everybody wants to be a part of a good culture where there's people out there that, are respectful of one another. They take care of themselves. They take care of their families. They're responsible. They're good citizens. I want you here in this country. But don't come to this country and from another country and expect me, as an illegal immigrant. Don't come to this country as an illegal immigrant and expect me to bow down to you and say, oh, yes, you have all these rights. You have the same rights. No, you don't have the same rights. You do not have the same rights. Don't come to this country and expect me to respect that. Okay? I am a citizen of this country. I have to take care of the best interests of this country. I have to look out for the security of this country. Don't ask me. There's all sorts of fraud that takes place in all these different organizations and groups that people, like whether it's welfare, whether or not it's it's food stamps, all these different agencies that are directed to providing welfare for America's people. Okay, these institutions are not for Hispanics only. Okay, these institutions are for Americans, and so for you to come over here to the border to absorb American welfare, and then send that money back to Mexico, which happens, it does happen, and there's a lot of cases of fraud out there. Don't expect me as an American citizen to be happy about that, because I'm not happy about it. I'm fucking pissed, and honestly, I'm gonna vote out the politicians that aren't doing their jobs. That's what's gonna happen. Because Americans right now, we're fucking pissed. Because the government for a long time has not been working for the American people's best interests. And just watch what happens in this next election. Watch what happens. Because if you thought the last map of the United States was red, guess what's going to happen this election, this next election. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to get even redder. It's going to go even more Republican, because people are seeing through the lies. People are seeing through the bullshit that the mainstream media is putting out there. Trump is doing a damn good job of protecting the United States and American people. So, when it comes to the question of immigration, I don't have a problem with people immigrating to this country legally. If they follow all the steps, and I agree, I'm 100%, I totally agree with the fact that America needs to have a better process in place for people to be able to come into the country. A better citizenship, a little easier citizenship process, because I agree, there are good people out there who are not being enabled to come to this country. I agree, I totally agree with that. But at the same time, like, you have to respect America's laws. If you come to this country, you cross the border illegally, what does that prove to an American? What does that prove to us? That proves to us that you disrespect and you have no regard for America's security and America's America's immigration laws. Okay, that's what that proves. So when you do that, that automatically proves to us that you don't respect our laws. And when you don't respect our laws, what does that prove to us about your citizenship, about your desire to be a good American? If you don't protect our security laws, our national security laws, but you come in and you break our laws, that basically says that you don't care about any of the other laws. If you break that law, that means you're willing to break every other law. Because if you don't care about America's national security, that means that you don't care about other laws. You don't care about traffic laws. Because if you don't care about America's national security, as a non-citizen, are you really going to care about America's national security when you become a citizen? No. I've heard all these different stories of Mexicans coming into this country. It's not just Mexicans; it's people from other countries who come to this country and they're laughing. Basically, they're joking during the whole the citizenship process. They don't respect what it means to be an American citizen, because they're going through this, they're going through the process, and they're laughing, they're giggling, and they're basically making fun of the process because they don't respect America for what it stands for. And when you don't respect what America stands for, you will not treat America, the country, the nation, the people. You will not treat the American people with the respect that they deserve. And see, that's a problem. When we allow people in this country who disrespect us as people and think that they're somehow taking advantage of us as people, and they sometimes are taking advantage of, that's a problem. That's a problem, because you're bringing someone into your country who does not share the values of the country. They don't share the civic responsibility of the country. So that person then comes to this country and brings other people in this country, and they become basically a cancerous cell in this country, where they disrespect America's people. They disrespect the culture. They disrespect everything that American stands for. Well, you have groups in Texas. I've seen this before, where they're basically saying, "Down with America, down with America, down with whites, kill the whites," in Texas. So. And that can't be allowed. When you have people in this country that want to stay in this country, they want to be American citizens. They say they want to be American citizens, but they have honestly no respect for the American people. I'm not in favor of that, and that's why I favor a National Socialist approach to the the stance of immigration, because you it's bad for your country when you allow people into your country, through immigration, or through the citizenship process, to become citizens who don't care about your country and don't care about your values. Okay? Because then those people end up taking advantage of the opportunities in this country, and they end up using those opportunities against your own people, against your own culture. You know? And can we afford to allow that in this country? I don't think we can. I mean, I don't think it's responsible. I don't think it's responsible. I mean, it's a lot like a church. It's a lot like a church. You cannot allow someone to become a member of a church who doesn't believe in the same principles and doesn't believe in the same teachings of that church. You can't allow that person to become a member. And do you know why? Because then you're enabling that person to come from outside as an unbeliever to influence all those other people that go to that church or whatever. You're allowing that person to have a say in that culture, and that person is going to transfer ideas, beliefs into those groups, into that culture that are not in line with the teachings of that religion. So it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same thing. You can't allow that person to become a certified member. They may be a guest. That's perfectly appropriate to label. To identify somebody as a guest. Okay, this person is a guest. He's visiting this church. He's not a member, but he is visiting. And there's a distinction. There's a proper distinction there. And it's the same thing, I believe, with immigration. That is just smart. You can't allow people from an outside organization to come into your country and become a member of your country with benefits that come along with being a member, if that person does not share the same values as the nation, as the national values, the established national values. And there has to be an established system of national values. There has to be. In order for a culture to work, in order for a nation to work, to thrive, to grow, to move forward and to progress. Because otherwise, you just have this mass of people who are just fighting culturally about everything, constantly. Different ideas, different beliefs, persuasions, religious beliefs, all this. And you never make any progress. You never make any progress. You never are able to make a solid decision about which way is the best way to go when you have people constantly fighting about everything. And that's what you have to have. You have to have a set of national values. Okay, and this really, I mean, honestly, for the United States, this is the Constitution. You're either in the United States, you're either pro-Constitution, you believe in the Constitution, or you don't believe in the Constitution. And honestly, I favor National Socialism, honestly, but I believe in the Constitution. I believe the Constitution is a great thing, is a great document. It must be enforced. There's a lot of people in this country who don't want it to be enforced, who don't like it, and they are on the opposite side of the ideological spectrum as me. I purposely put myself in a position and with a political group that believes in the goodness of the Constitution and the rightness of the Constitution and believes that it is effective, is useful. But there's another group of people who are on the opposite side of the political spectrum as me